I was slightly nervous about attending. I had never done anything like it before.
Children in care, children that are looked after, they've always been a part of really sterile meetings. They have reviews every 6 months, they have social worker meetings, they have to go to certain panels to make sure they've got funding for their next year.
I didn't know what the people would be like. I didn't know what activities we'd be doing, whether it would be boring, whether it would be fun, whether it would be like a bit dull.
I think the event needs to be as far away from being sterile as possible.
Or quite light-hearted and jokey. In the end, it was extremely light-hearted, jokey. You could relax and be yourself.
I hated sitting in a room where people just kind of talk about you and talk at you. So I think getting away from that sterile environment of let's talk at these young people, let's give them as much of information as we can, I think that's a massive no.
Making it seem like a fun event rather than an educational experience, it gets them through the doors of a university, it gets them to see the environment.
Yeah, make sure you do something really hands-on and really, you know, something really modern, something that's really going to grasp the young people's attention, even if you do put a bit of the boring bits of university in there as well, because you've got to make it real.
And once you've got them, and you've got them hooked because they remember the university, they remember the activity they did, then you can start to feed in the information that's important. Initially, an activity that is really memorable would be one of the most important things to me.
Having targeted events, we can be very open about the discussions. So whereas at a main open day, a young person might be very hesitant about putting their hand up and asking about the implications of where would I live when it wasn't term time, you know, during the summer, they wouldn't feel confident to ask those sorts of questions in front of everybody else.
I feel that it's important for care leavers to run events like outreach programmes at universities for other care leavers, because then when a care leaver comes to a university, they know that they're not alone and there is another group. There is people like them around the university already.
If you have someone, because I'm very open about telling them that I've been through care and that I haven't always had it easy, and they're very shocked when they find that out at first, because they just think I'm, you know, either a member of staff or someone that's had a good, easy life.
The group can be a challenging group to work with. We've worked with a number of young people who've come along to our residentials with a number of their own problems, often associated with their time before care or being in care.
And when I tell them that I've had it hard like them, but I've managed to turn it around, they see it as a new experience. They see it as something they may be able to attain.
We've had young people in the past with a number of mental health problems, eating disorders, self-harm issues. All of these issues have to be addressed sensitively before they arrive, because we want them to have the same experience as all of the other participants involved.
I'd spoken to the Widening Participation Officer about maybe we could have a visit beforehand, because you know, this boy has some diagnoses that we do need to be aware of and we do need to be mindful of, and actually anxiety being quite a contributory factor.
There are also a number of problems involving anxiety, so we offer them opportunities to come onto site prior with a member of staff if they wish, so they can get to find out a bit more about the university.
We met with the two officers. We had a big tour of the campus. They made him feel so at ease. They asked all the right questions, but they let him speak and they let him get any anxieties he had out of himself as well. And he was visibly relaxed within the first 10 minutes of being there. So that when he did go for the weekend, it was so much easier for him. What was also particularly pleasing for me is that pretty much all of the other kids were also in care.
We weren't actually told it was just for care leavers until we actually got there. So we all came thinking we were just a selected group of year 9s that had been picked to go on this course.
On that first occasion, if they hadn't have been, I'm not sure he'd have found it as easy as he did, or as inspiring as he did.
Well, I'm still friends with quite a few of them now, so it's really nice because we've gone through like our GCSEs, our A-levels, and now some of them are at university, so we're all going through that path together.
He looked around himself and he realised that all the kids were like him and they all had the same aspirations he did, and that made him feel part of a group.
When I was 15 years old, I don't think I would have been invited to a university open day because of my behaviour. But maybe if we included some of these young people that are deeply traumatised and that are struggling with their emotions on a daily basis, maybe they will help them see that there's more to life.
Getting young people to the venues, right, is one of the most difficult jobs. So you need to make sure that you have your foster carers on board, your designated teachers, your social work teams, because somebody will need to bring that child or young person to this venue or to the university?
It's nerves when they first get the letter to say, oh, you've been invited to come to spring school, or oh, this is coming up, would you like to come do it? I think the first thing they think is actually no, because I won't know anyone.
We also have in the past enabled young people who are quite nervous about coming for the first time to come along with a foster sibling or a friend, and this really does help boost their confidence. So when they get here, they feel that they can engage and participate.
Yes, they may be not in care, but obviously if they're friends, then that friend obviously has an understanding. So I think maybe, and then that way that will start, I think there's a slight barrier between children who are in care and children who aren't, because the children who aren't in care don't fully understand being in care.
If you go through your student support, health and wellbeing contact, I know that they're called lots of different things at universities, but the people that look after things like the Care Leavers bursary and monitoring looked after children when they do come to university, they will have contacts too.
By showing them what additional support is available to students from a care background at higher education, and by introducing them to some of our current students from a care background, we're really able to get that message across to them in a way that we wouldn't in a generic outreach activity.
Through putting on sessions, working with your local authorities for specific foster carers, you can educate them too. You can give them the right information so that they can support the students also.
A lot of our current students that we've had in the past from a care background have a propensity to go towards careers in social work and youth work, and so what we do with those targeted activities is we ensure that we expose them to some subject areas they would ordinarily not have chosen for themselves.
The residentials are absolutely fantastic. It gives you the information to feel that you can go on and send them. We knew everything that was going on. It was all planned fantastic, and it also, after, if I have any information or if I don't know anything, I will quite happily email because I've made a contact.
Oh, it was brilliant. There was great joke. There was a lot of joking, a lot of laughing, very light-hearted.
You need the confidence to send your young person and know that it's right. So if you're not working together, you can't have that confidence, I don't think, because if you're unsure yourself, there's no way you're going to convince a kid to go. So I think that's important.
If there's not good food, you're going to have some very grouchy young people.